funny when you start making that list. It just,
Oh,
the list
growing,
is awfully long, isn't
Yeah,
it?
sure is.
I just, you sparked one thing for me. I'm reminded of a story that someone, a public servant from from Nova Scotia, who was in conversation since Daryl Dexter's been elected there, and he had strategy documents going out, and the sort of response from the public service was, you know, are these documents confidential? And he was like, oh no, I don't think so. And they're like, well, but these documents are always confidential. He's like, but I want everyone to know what our strategy is. Like, that's the point, right? We're the government, it's our strategy. So, I mean, I think that really kind of speaks to this idea of what's the big secret about here? You know, if this is what we're committed to and this is where we're going. But what I'm curious about is whether or not those committee spaces, which, I mean, I think obviously it's embarrassing, if nothing else, to watch unproductive fighting as not a member of sort of any holding any office right now. That I would say that the least of my worries is how embarrassing it is. The biggest of my worries is the kind of model that it sets up for how we want to be as a society. But do those committees need to be reserved for politicians, public serve? I mean, maybe we need to start thinking about intersectoral committees that do similar work of government committees, where maybe that's a place for citizens to participate. I don't know, I'm not inside, but how do we think about how you push out of that even farther and think, how do we actually do this in a more integrated and collaborative way?
The work that's going on right now, and if we look at the agricultural sector forum that took place and work that's come out of that, if we look at work that's going on right now with the Poverty Reduction Task Force, I think those are examples, hopefully, of where governments can do a better job working with. Now, the challenge will come as we take that information. How do you put it into long-term planning instead of planning for the next election cycle or whatever? And how do you implement where you need to be? My other comment, I think there are good examples from the past. You know, some of the work that's been done on natural resources, some of the work that was done on auto insurance as well. The committee on dogs and, you know.
Yeah, when we sat down
You had a committee on dogs?
Well, on violent dogs, I forget the term, what it was at the time. Minister Lamrock was involved in that. But no, I think the reality is on a number of committees that are at work, that is where a lot of the real work gets done. And Mr. Lamrock made a comment earlier about the sound bites. One of the unfortunate parts, I think, for the general population is everything that they believe that takes place in the Legislative Assembly circulates around the 30 minutes from question period, or at Parliament as well. And the unfortunate part of it is there is a lot of good work that gets done. You know, in a couple of weeks we're going to be meeting on a Safe Haven Act and also on a Lobbyist Registration Act in the province as part of the Law Amendments Committees. You know, though there's good work that gets done on behalf of New Brunswickers, they have an opportunity to have direct input into it, but the general public unfortunately doesn't see that because it's not sexy enough news for the media maybe to talk about it. And I think that's an unfortunate side of the way our society has gone and how focused we are on the soundbite, and, you know, whether it's television or social media or whatever.